Giles' son William went out to get things to trade with the fishermen and then died. There was no insurance, and the loss spelled ruin to the Hosiers. Oh my gosh. So you get in one boating accident, your son dies, and you lose absolutely everything.
A larger merchant might have been able to withstand this, but for the Hosiers, in their situation, this spelt ruin.
Catherine's 4 times great-grandfather Matthew was from Donegal in Ireland, and Louisa was from New York. In her search for English roots, Katherine will have to pursue another branch of her mother's family tree.
So when you trace back from Frederick Carr and Beatrice Adelia,
My great-grandfather's side,
you come to these two.
Giles Hosier and Grace Newell.
Yes. And they were in Newfoundland. And I think that that's where you need to go next.
Her 5 times great-grandparents, Giles Hosier and Grace Newell, lived in Bonavista, Newfoundland, in the late 1700s. The island of Newfoundland is Canada's easternmost province and was the nearest port for ships sailing from Britain to trade in the vital 18th century commodity, cod. To find out about her 5 times great-grandparents, Katherine is meeting historian Angela Duffett.
Thank you for driving on our Canadian Girls Road Trip.
You are most welcome.
So, it's my understanding that my 5 times great-grandparents, Giles Hosier and Grace Newell, might be from Bonavista.
That is correct.
I grew up on a street called Newell Street. Yeah.
Full circle.
I know.
I love that.
What can you tell me about my 5 times great-grandparents who lived here?
So Grace and Giles lived here, and this is a document explaining a bit about what they did here. Have a look.
Thank you. This room has one stage from the corner of the bridge. They owned a fishing room. What's a fishing room?
So although we call it a room, think much bigger. These were usually owned by what we would call a merchant family who owned merchant premises and traded with the fishermen who would have used their room to land their catch and to prepare their catch.
Seems like a really hard job. And that was the main industry. Obviously, we're on a peninsula. It was all about the fishing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Newell's room. Mm-hmm. How come, if Grace is the lady, the fishing room was called Newell's room and not Giles Hosier room?
The fishing room had been in her family.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Giles and Grace processed the fisherman's catch, then exported it. Giles and Grace had 7 children. Their home was in a central location in the town, reflecting their status. It once stood on this patch of land.
Mr. Hosier was well educated, a man of refined tastes and superior attainments, which qualities were transmitted to a large family of interesting sons and daughters. Having lived to see his happy family attain unto young manhood and womanhood, other days and other fortunes came. His son William, a promising youth of 19 years, had gone to St. John's to secure the fall's merchandise.
Goods to trade with the fishermen in the fall.
Okay. Giles' son William went out to get things to trade with the fishermen and then died. There was no insurance, and the loss spelled ruin to the Hosiers. Oh my gosh. So you get in one boating accident, your son dies, and you lose absolutely everything.
A larger merchant might have been able to withstand this, but for the Hosiers, in their situation, this spelt ruin.
Oh. In a few weeks, he died of a broken heart, followed by his other son. I would die of a broken heart, too.
He's buried here in Bonavista. Would you like to see where he is buried?
Oh, yes, please.
I'll show you another document here. This is Giles' death notice from the newspaper. It's at the bottom here.
Giles Hosier of Poole in the county of Dorset, England, but late of Bonavista, Newfoundland. So he was from Dorset. I knew we were English at some point.
Yeah.
And I really love Dorset. My daughter Violet gives me a hard time about not being English. Well, now I can tell her I am English, and from a castle, no less. She won't know it's a village. We won't tell her. It's really reassuring to find that when I feel at home in England, it's because, in a way, I'm bringing my ancestry back home. My grandmother and I were so close. My mom's mom and I were like little buddies. When my grandmother was dying, I was a teenager and I wouldn't really go to the hospital. I didn't want to see her like that. I was sort of like angry and avoidant. I just wouldn't go. And she rang me when she was dying and she said, will you say to me, I love you, Dolly Lou, because that's what her parents used to call her. And I said no, because I just thought it sounded ridiculous and I didn't really want her to die. But she died anyway, of course. And so this is lovely to have done, because this is sort of an I love you, Dolly Lou thing that I can do for my grandma, because she really wanted us to talk more about her family. And now we've done that.